Hello everyone and welcome to Wednesday's Talking Reds. My name is Stewart, alongside me is Josh Sexton, and it doesn't feel very good, does it? We don't lose very often at the moment, but last night we lost. We lost away in Atletico Madrid in the first leg of the last 16 in the Champions League, Josh. And if you're looking at it from an Atletico perspective, the game went perfectly to plan. Early goal, snidey early goal that allowed them to put those two defensive banks in front, put all of their energy into stopping us, get all the snide out there, time wasting, all those tactics, get the crowd to whip everyone up, and they've got something to hold on to.
Yeah, exactly. I sort of go through a cycle before every game where I'll maybe have a spell where I'm not too confident about the result, I build the opposition up too much, but this game sort of followed my exact cycle. There's a few days before where I thought, well, Atletico aren't as good as they used to be, but they're still going to set up to frustrate. They're going to do basically all the things that they did end up doing in the game, and then once I seen the Liverpool team come out, I actually got a bit more confident, but then the way that Liverpool started, I just thought we started too slowly. We were a bit too all over the place in the first 4 minutes. Fletch and Maka on commentary were giving Atletico all the praise, and then all of a sudden the ball just drops them in the box, and it was dead funny because you were sort of watching it, and I think one of the commentators said that Fabinho could have reacted quicker after watching 8 slow-mo replays of it. So you can sort of, you can criticise Liverpool all you like, but Atletico came out the traps. They obviously had the atmosphere there. You've seen the videos of the coach welcome for them, so they were obviously massively up for this game, which shows the reputation that Liverpool have, particularly in Spain. I know in the build-up, the Spanish press we're sort of heaping all this praise on Liverpool and being quite terrified about Atletico's chances, but like you said, it followed Diego Simeone's game plan perfectly. I don't think he could have scripted a better performance, really.
No, and it's interesting you talk about the way that they spoke about us before the game, because I was thinking that was quite surprising, but it's almost as if what Atletico needed was to be the underdog again, because they have been a force, they have been a team to be reckoned with in Europe and in Spain for quite some time now, most of Simeone's reign, and they seem to have struggled with it a little bit at the moment. They seem to have lost their mojo. What they needed was a big challenge for them to come down against the mighty Liverpool and kind of have a rearguard action to defend against. And it's something that Sid Lowe mentioned in his match report. You mentioned the fans. He mentioned that Atletico basically claimed their stadium back from Liverpool, because we were all going there thinking, yeah, this is going to be great. We're going to have all these wonderful memories. And they were like, nah, this is our stadium. And they proved it last night.
Yeah, I think there's this weird sort of underdog tug of war going into the game, wasn't there? Because I know Joe Gomez had said earlier last week that Liverpool thrive being the underdog, and he was sort of almost trying to build Liverpool up as this underdog, which I suppose in the Premier League we could say they are, because they're fighting against City's finances and all the sort of things going on around that. But in this going into this Champions League game, it's pretty hard to argue that Liverpool are the underdogs. We're second with the holders of it. We're second favourites for it, even though we should really be favourites for it. Atletico, as I said, are fourth in the league. They're a fading force on what they used to be, because they've lost so many players and are trying to blood in so many new ones. So yeah, it was always going to be a sort of tough fixture. I think there was a chance it was always going to go the way it went, and I think it almost made it less of a surprise that it did go that way in the end.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I also think there's a certain element that when you think about the break that we've just come back from, maybe it's just a game or two too early in our coming back, because I mean, we've seen it before when we've had breaks, whether for international or warm weather training, we have been a little bit rusty in getting back up to top gear. We saw it in patches against Norwich, but we had the quality at the end to produce that one moment of magic to get us over the line. I think that was what was missing last night. There was a lot of our guys who were below par. I think it's fair to say some of them had worse games than I've seen them play in months. But there was no one available there to just do that one magic thing that we need in the 90 minutes that would have changed the complete complexion of the game. I think we didn't have a shot on target in the whole game. We only had 2 kind of half chances. So I think really the attack and the lack thereof seemed to be probably a bigger problem than anything else in that game.
Yeah, look, I think if you sort of probe down into it enough, you can find all sorts of reasons why Liverpool maybe weren't at the races early on, why the organisation maybe wasn't quite there, but Atletico just sort of came out with that game plan and executed it well, and it sort of reminded me of the Napoli game in a way, because Napoli away, I mean, you could look at both seasons, because Napoli came out to disrupt us, but it was in a sort of different way to what Atletico did. It wasn't so much falling over and sort of trying to get the referee on side and things like that. was that they literally had this tactic to stop the fullbacks, and then once you do that, you stop Liverpool's supply line. But with Atletico, like I say, it was more the falling over, it was more of the antics, and then being able to get that early goal meant that they could set their stall out then and sort of frustrate Liverpool all night. And I think, like I say, you can read into all sorts of reasons, but I think you're always going to have these games, and we're quite fortunate that we're watching this Liverpool side who are so amazing that they don't have too many of them where they actually come out with a defeat. It's a bit frustrating, and like you say, they find a way to win late on. But look, this was just one of them games. I'm willing to sort of put it down to that, and I think that Liverpool have got every chance going back to Anfield now.
Oh, definitely. I think Klopp himself mentioned it, Andy Robertson mentioned it in his post-match. Atletico were very pleased with what they were able to achieve last night. Almost a little bit too pleased, you might say. That was, like I said, that was definitely their game plan, and so much of it was led by their chief tormentor, cheerleader, hair transplant specialist, whatever you want to call him, El Cholo, Diego Simeone. He was probably, if you'd put one of those trackers on him, he probably ran more than anyone else on the pitch. But he was so involved, not just in obviously whipping up the crowd and all those things, but while the game was going on, particularly in that time in the second half, maybe the first 20 minutes of the second half, where you can see they were starting to tire a little bit. He didn't let them have a minute's peace. He was on them, and it was almost like he was micromanaging every single player the entire game. It was really, I don't know, weird to see.
Yeah, there was a point of sort of few moments of madness in the game, getting into the sort of last 15 minutes where Atletico, like you say, were looking a bit tired. They were sort of, their shape was starting to get a bit more ragged, and Liverpool just stopped, like forgot about positions really. I think Trent was sort of playing at centre attacking mid. We had Robertson on the right wing. We had Divock Origi playing wherever he wanted to play, and it almost seemed like it could maybe work for a time, like Liverpool could find their edge. But like you say, Simeone just sort of almost kept them into this bare minimum requirement, which is what they did to get out of the game. But you can tell the commentary pissed me off because I've picked out all sorts of moments of things which happened throughout the game. But at one point they said, "Oh, it's the manager and supporters in unison." I think this was towards the end, and I was thinking, the manager and supporters aren't in unison if every time the ball goes out of play, the manager has to be like, "Yeah, come on."
Well,
that's not what I class as manager and supporters in unison. I'd class managers and supporters in unison as when the manager does something, the supporters get behind it, not necessarily just him whipping them up into a frenzy like that.
No, that's a fair point, and I think it's something that followers of Spanish football will know, that there hasn't been that kind of connection between the crowd and the team and manager for a while. So maybe it was kind of leaning on that a little bit. To be honest with you, I completely avoided the commentary because I was listening to Robbo and Neil on hot mics.
I need to do the same.
And trust me, if you were annoyed with the way the game was going in the second half, you would have enjoyed listening to it. I mean, my housemate, who's not even a Liverpool fan, was listening along with me, and he was laughing his arse off, particularly around the referee. Now, I don't really want to go into too much detail on the referee. It just seemed to me that, I don't know how experienced he was or wasn't, but he fell for every single trick that they gave, and it just became another point of that kind of overall frustration and anger that we were feeling in that second half, I think.
Yeah, it's the sort of refereeing standard that you're almost used to in European competition now, and I don't know what sort of qualifies European referees. I can't remember if it was in the final in Madrid or in Kiev. We had a Slovenian referee who was meant to be one of the top referees in Europe, but he referees in the Slovenian league most of the time. I don't imagine there's much going on there. The stakes aren't particularly high and that kind of thing. And look, I'm maybe doing it down slightly, but you do just get these referees in European competition who, as long as one team's got a sort of agenda that they're going into with, which is Atletico's was to frustrate Liverpool, was to go down under any contact, the referee just played straight into the hands, and it was frustrating. But Liverpool have got to find ways to get around that, and you can always blame referees and you can blame VAR and things like that. And look, Liverpool didn't get the rubber of the green last night, but you need to be able to sort of fight around that. And when you're a team who's as good as Liverpool, it almost feels weird to come out of those games with those sort of excuses, because you can say, well, yeah, there is the referee, there is VAR, there is things like that, but you're a well better team than them at the end of the day, and you should be kicking it in the goal more than they are.
Well, this is it. We've found ways to overcome all kinds of obstacles over the course of the season, and we've praised them to the hilt for it. So I suppose we need to recognise the times when it hasn't happened. But hopefully, as you said, this is going to be a defeat that we can take, because we'll be able to go out there and put it right in the second leg. I want to talk a little bit more about the second leg, but first of all, I mentioned Neil and Robbo and their hot mic action. Now hear what they had to say in the post-match pipe.
disappointing tonight. I'm sure everyone's sort of going off about it because people do, because we've been on a long winning run. I didn't even know what to say at the start there. I'm just used to saying, get in,
Reds are boss.
every fucking week because the Reds are boss, the Reds are boss, the Reds are boss. And then tonight, the Reds weren't boss. I mean, and we've got to take some responsibility, or Liverpool have, for the result. I mean, lots of people are having a go at the ref, me included. The knobhead couldn't even get out the way of the ball half the time, never mind the decisions he was given. But Liverpool, at times, rushed things, took shots at the wrong time, made the wrong decisions. And when you look back at it already now, it's only been a few minutes, but already you're saying, I'm not sure I can pick out loads of top performers on the night who were wearing the Liverpool shirt.
No, that's right. We were just a little touch off it, but then even though we're not particularly at it, we've still had a couple of opportunities. There's the Mo Salah shot where it's the defender and goes over the bar that we win the corner from. Even their goal, looking back, the corner that they win, it's a left-footed clearance from Van Dijk and it hits the ground and spins out for a corner. Goes out, and it literally slides past the corner flag. It could go out for a throw-in, no goal. They got exactly. If you would have asked Atletico Madrid what's a perfect start, it would have been a corner, a goal in the first 5, something to hang on to. And listen, you're playing this side that are absolutely schooled in the art of being shit on. And I admire that in a way, and it's frustrating when it happens to you. But we put performances in like Europe years ago under Rafa Benitez, and we've been made up, and that's fine. But as you said, we've not played particularly well. 1-0 maybe flatters them a little bit, given the opportunity and the possession. They've got away with a couple. We've lacked discipline. A couple of players not on it. I think the subs didn't really work out, to be fair. In theory, we might have done, but they just didn't work. Rhythm was off, touch was off. Everything to play for at Anfield, and I'm like Neil. They're going to come into a cauldron now, and I can't wait for it.
Thanks to the boys there. We'll be hearing later in the show from the Atletico point of view. But first of all, most of you will be aware that we've had some issues with our website over the course of the last few weeks. And Josh, there's been a decision made this week, which is hopefully going to sort all of that out.
Yeah, it's a pretty big development, particularly for those who usually watch us on YouTube. But basically, we've been having a few sort of IT issues in the back end, which have been affecting the website, and the app has been changing over servers, been sort of trying to build the plane while flying it, which has worked to an extent. We got away with it to a certain extent, and then we stopped getting away with it, basically. So what we've decided to do is to pull the website and app down for the next few days. The app will still be there, all the old content will still be on it, it just won't refresh. So now if you're listening to any Anfield app content, it's all going to be free until Monday. So basically, you're going to be able to get it on Audio Boom, on Spotify. As for you guys watching on YouTube, you'll be able to get all of our premium videos, so hopefully you can sort of get your teeth sunk into that, you can enjoy it, and then maybe when it gets to Monday you'll think about subscribing. Well,
it's certainly going to be interesting for me having comments on the second look videos again.
That's one of the things you miss.
I really did miss it. No, but obviously the situation, we've all had issues with IT in the past, or whatever you are doing, and it's one of those situations, as you said, we tried to kind of get the best as we can, but I definitely think this is the best route, and in the meantime you get to enjoy a little bit more than you would have otherwise. So, you know, everyone's a winner in that sense.
And as I say, if you are someone who watches us on YouTube, you'll now be able to listen to all the podcasts for free via Audio Boom or Spotify. So if you want to go and give them a go while it is all free and sort of take the opportunity, and then like I say, hopefully when it comes to next week and we do go back to our subscription service, then you'll have a good taste of what the Anfield app's like.
So what you're saying is that something bad happened, and hopefully we're going to find a way to make it better in the future.
Yep.
Speaking of which, see what I did there?
That was really nice.
Thank you. The second leg, I already mentioned it earlier, at Anfield. We are known throughout the world, and rightly so, for having a fantastic atmosphere, particularly in European nights. Atletico are going to be aware of this, but as we've seen in the past, teams have been well aware of it and had no answer to it. Do you think that we're going to need to bring out all of the big guns for this one? How tough do you think it's going to be to overcome?
Look, it will be tough. I imagine they're going to come and try and play all the same antics again, but I think it is going to be a totally different game. I think referee coming to Anfield is sort of not going to be looking towards favouring Atletico going into it. I think he's going to be more likely to sway with the crowd. I think Liverpool will know to be on top of the referee this time. The crowd will obviously be on top of it, as I said, and you expect the sort of all the hallmarks of a European night, and it almost becomes cliche to a point. I remember talking about it last season, and particularly before the Barcelona semi-final, I almost thought, is there a chance this crowd can do another another one of these? Like, has it just become the cliche now? Is this, you know, a job too many because we were 3-0 down going into that one and we still managed to pull it out of the bag? And look, you can look at this one and look at all the factors going into it, but we are only 1-0 down. This is the Liverpool side who I said before is well better than this Atletico side going into it. So I'll still be really confident going into it. I might do my cycle before it where maybe a big Atletico up too much. Maybe I think that Simeone's going to do us over again. But no, look, at the moment I'm really confident, and I imagine Liverpool will come away with enough.
Well, if you want to feed into that a little bit more, I suspect João Felix will be back for the second leg. I suspect Jose Jimenez will be back in for the second leg. So there's potential for Atletico to be a stronger team. But as great as their home record is in Europe, their away record is appalling. Genuinely, every time that they haven't reached the final, it's because they've been beaten heavily in the away leg. A lot of the time after already doing well in the home leg and not being able to draw it back. So they're going to have that in their mind as well as all the other Liverpool-centric psychological things. So there is lots to hope for from Liverpool. Obviously, I mentioned as well before, by that we'll add a few more games under our belt, hopefully be firing at a slightly higher tempo. So I think there's still plenty for us to go on in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it already, to be honest. And me and Craig were talking about before the game yesterday how these Champions League games are feeling like a nice break from the league, and you almost get into a, you know, I wouldn't say it's a boring repetition with the league, but where you go into a game and you expect Liverpool to win at the start. There's maybe a bit of, you know, a point where it's not going quite right within the game, but then you come out on top with a win in the end. It's quite nice to sort of have these Champions League games as a bit of a break from that relentlessness of Liverpool just winning points. As mad as that sounds, and it does sound like
it does sound
like an actual spoilt brat saying that, but no. What I'm trying to say is that, look, these Champions League games and FA Cup games are the games that we're going to be looking forward to more now because the league's won. I think I'm fine in saying that. Sorry, comments if that's not what you want to hear. But the league,
I love how we're still nervous about that, though. By the way,
the league is won. By the way, so the FA Cup and the Champions League, look, as we saw last night, they're not won. As we saw in the FA Cup games, there's still challenges to overcome in terms of who Jurgen Klopp's going to start in those games. So they're the games that I'm almost hanging my hat on now. The ones I'm looking forward to, and I'm massively looking forward to the second leg. It's going to be another great atmosphere, and it'll be another big Liverpool win in Europe.
Fantastic. I can't argue with any of those things. I'm really looking forward to it as well. I think that Atletico would be ill-advised to think that they've got even half of the job done so far. And Klopp's little welcome to Anfield bit for the Atletico fans, that really made me smile as well. So big things happening, hopefully, in the second leg. Big things happening here as well. We've got another tour coming up in the next month. Next month, is it, I believe?
Yeah.
We're going to America, or shall I say we're coming to America. I think that's the name of the film, isn't it? Coming to America? Yes. You're not that young, God damn it! Coming to America. They're probably going to remake it soon enough anyway.
With Neil Robbo.
Could you imagine? No, not really. Now, I don't have the dates and times of where we're going. Do you happen to have those to hand?
No, I'm in America at the same time, so I've actively tried to sort of avoid where they are because I'm off work, so I'm trying to stay out of being roped into any live shows, but you can find that information at theanfieldrap.com/tour live. So I'm going to be Skyped off work.
You're doing your basketball tour. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, he's basically traveling across America, watching all of the best NBA teams play basketball, and I'm in no way jealous. Seriously, I'm in no way jealous.
I'll have a good time, I'm sure.
Yeah, you'll be great. Fantastic. If you do live in America and you are looking forward to seeing us come over, there will be information. All the names and the dates are going to be at all of the places you normally find this place. www.anfieldrap.com/tour live. In the future, of course, but keep an eye on our social media where we will be posting about it between now and then. Now, Josh, is there any more admin that we need to cover in today's show?
No, I think there's just the lads over in Madrid, isn't there?
Indeed there is. There's the lads over in Madrid. Thank you. I almost forgot. John's been speaking to a Madrid journalist, Fran Guillen, who's also an Atletico fan. You'll be hearing that at the end of the show. But thank goodness I get to stop talking about that game for now. Look out for the second look later, by the way. And then hopefully I'm going to have a nice drink and think about the second leg.
Drink to that.
So we're in Madrid the morning after Liverpool's 1-0 defeat in the Champions League. I'm delighted to be joined by Fran, who's a journalist out here in Madrid, but also an Atletico fan. I mean, you must be pleased, Fran. We're a little bit downbeat, a little bit disappointed, but for Atletico, it couldn't have gone much better.
Yeah, Atletico is not in a very easy season, because Atletico is changing a lot of things in the team. They lost Godin, they lost Felipe, they lost Juanfran, they lost Gavi, they lost the core of the team, and they're replacing them with new players. So it's not going to be easy, but in important nights, Atletico is still the tough Atletico who was so close to win 2 Champions League 3-4 years ago. So Atletico, it's tough, Atletico competes, and that was the demonstration.
And so, in terms of Anfield, it's going to be, I guess, a little more of the same. That Atletico are going to be hard to break down, and Liverpool are going to have to create more than they did last night.
Well, it's a match of feelings, a mix, because Anfield is going to be great, because it's one of the best stadiums for a big European night, but also for Atletico, Anfield is going to be the hell, because we know it's going to be very tough. We have the feelings about Barcelona last year, about how tough was that second game for them. We hope Atletico is going to be more concentrated than Barcelona in that corner kick, but Atletico, has to fight, I think, has to put a very similar match of the first match, with very close spaces, counter-attacking, fighting the 90 minutes, and we'll see.
We spoke to a few Atletico fans yesterday, and they weren't generally too confident about going through, but I sense today a little bit more confidence in terms of the team progressing.
Well, no confidence. Atletico last year was so confident against Juventus with a 2-0 in the first match, and then in Turin was the worst final ever for the participation of the team in Champions League. So I think they learned about that, and I think Atletico is going to be no relaxed at all in Anfield.
It's perfectly set up. I can't wait. I can't believe I've got to wait so long. I want it next week, but we have got a little bit of wait. But we're going to enjoy our day in Madrid. But thanks a huge amount to Fran for joining us.